Hi, in this next lecture, we'll be talking about proactive and strategic workforce planning. The objectives for today's lecture are to learn about how workforce segmentation can be used in workforce planning to differentiate focus and investment on the most critical strategic roles that affect the organization's strategy. We'll also be talking about how we can compare and contrast strategic and proactive workforce planning with more transactional staffing processes which may currently exist in your organization, which tend to be a little less strategic and focus more on the immediate term. Workforce segmentation is when roles in the company are assigned to one of two broad categories: those roles that affect the strategy and those roles that are affected by the strategy. And then into four segments. There are, in organizations, strategic roles, core roles, requisite roles, or non-core or surplus roles with the strategic direction of the company. We're now going to talk more about the proactive and strategic nature of workforce planning and how it differs from traditional and more reactive staff planning activities that might be all too common in the current organization in which you work. I'd like to ask you, how many of you have seen desperation hires occur due to a reactive and more transactional approach to talent? Asked in more transactional or reactive staff planning with a shorter term focus are, what are the staffing needs for the current year based on organization plans? What staffing gaps do we face currently? What talent do we need to recruit to fill the gap? I'd like to ask you, what are some of the potential issues that you see that are likely to impact your workforce plan or need to be incorporated? SWOT analysis, spelled SWOT, stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. A SWOT analysis is a strategic planning method used by organizations, and it involves specifying the objective of the organization and identifying the internal and external factors that are favorable and unfavorable to achieving that objective. In looking at the definition of SWOT, strengths are characteristics of the business that give it an advantage over others. Weaknesses are characteristics that place the organization at a disadvantage relative to others. Opportunities are external chances to improve performance in the environment, such as making greater profits. And threats are external elements in the environment that could cause trouble for the organization or project in the future. HR should then ask diagnostic questions related to the SWOT analysis framework in order to get a better sense of internal and external factors that could enable or impede the organization from a workforce standpoint. In other words, what are the workforce or talent implications coming out of what we learned in the SWOT analysis with the organization? In this lecture, we discussed how workforce segmentation can be used in workforce planning to differentiate focus and investment in critical strategic roles that affect the organization's strategy. We also compared and contrasted strategic and proactive workforce planning with more transactional staffing processes, which tend to be less strategic and focus more on the immediate term.